Well, we've reached the post-Thanksgiving movie releases, and while this has not been the most stellar season of movies ever, we have had several solid movies and a couple of surprises. Will we get a post-holiday letdown? The Real Man Rom-Com Review has the answers for you. But hey, before I get started with my reviews, please subscribe to my channel to see all my previous reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell to be notified when new content drops. Number 6, Jingle Bell Jubilee, which aired Sunday, December 3rd on Great American Family. Now, Hope is a high school English teacher. She leads the Re-Giftmas program at school where people can give gifts to help needy families. Now, single dad Nate is the new city manager of Larchmont Falls. His first task on this new job is to get the Jingle Bell Jubilee ready for Christmas. Now, Hope and Nate went to school together, and Nate isn't ready to jump into the dating waters, even though it's been 3 years since his wife died. And Hope is too busy with re-giftmas stuff to have a relationship. And Nate is behind the 8 ball getting gifts for the Jubilee, so they pitch the idea of re-giftmas to get people to give. Well, that about sums up the plot of most made-for-TV Christmas rom-coms prior to 2022. This was one boring movie with nothing to offer in plot or from the cast. Here's a suggestion. Put this movie on, and every time you see or hear the following, take a drink. Anyone still awake at the end of the movie is drinking virgins. So those would be if you hear Jingle Bell Jubilee or Re-Giftmas. Number 5, Christmas with a Kiss, which aired Sunday, December 3rd on the Hallmark Channel. Mona invites her new boyfriend, which she's been out with twice, to come to her parents' house for Christmas. If it wasn't weird enough, the boyfriend tells her that she's helped him realize that he still loves his ex-wife and wants to get back together with her. So Mona goes back home without a man and nearing 40 in 8 more years. Mona's parents run the annual Christmas festival, which culminates with the magical Milton Christmas dance, where it is said that if you kiss someone under the mistletoe, they will find everlasting love. Now, Des, who's a journalist for Culture and Lifestyle magazine, has come to town to do a puff piece on the family and the festival, and he seems to have his eye on Mona. But Des seems to have some competition in the form of ex-boyfriend Fletcher, who is a firefighter in town. Another movie that we have seen played out many times. Girl picks wrong guy, but once she figures out the right guy's busted for lying to girl and family about the story he was told to write by his editor. But right guy had an epiphany after meeting girl and writes different story, which girl sees. Girl forgives guys, kissy kissy. Now this movie was boring to watch, and I had no sympathy for any of the characters in this story. Just skip it. Number 4, Christmas on Windmill Way, which aired Saturday, December 2nd on Great American Family. Now, Mia's Oma, or grandmother, has sold the property on Windmill Way to a developer who will allow the family to run the mill and furniture business because they only want to build a cozy little inn on some vacant land next to the mill. Now, Mia's old friend Brady has come back to town and is taking the mill tour when Mia sees him. Seems that Brady works for the developer that purchased the land, Bow Bridge Realty. After confirming to Mia that the family will get to stay on the property, Brady's boss calls to inform him that Caprio Resorts wants to build a resort on the property, meaning the structure of the windmill and furniture factory. Mia needs a plan to save the mill, so what rabbit does she pull out of the hat, boys and girls? That's right, she plays the historical landmark designation card. Look, well, we've seen this movie play out dozens of times over the years, and this movie offers no new twists or turns to this overly worn-out tale. So unless you like the actors in this movie, I don't see much of a reason to watch this movie either. 3 movies down, and we've had 3 stinkers. Hopefully the top 3 will give me hope that the back half of the Christmas movie season will not be a boring snooze fest of mediocrity. Number 3, My Norwegian Holiday, which aired Friday, December 1st on the Hallmark Channel. Now, Jessica Johnson, aka JJ, has been trying to finish her doctoral dissertation. She wants another extension, which her boss is not inclined to grant her that extension. Now, while grading papers at the local coffee shop, JJ overhears 2 people breaking up. The girl takes JJ's coffee and storms off. Now, Henrik, who was the dumpee, then proceeds to scatter her papers all across the floor of across the coffee house. Now, Henrik shows up at JJ's school to apologize and recognizes a hand-carved troll doll from his country on her desk. The troll was her deceased grandmother's, but she doesn't know the backstory of its origin. Since it just so happens that Henrik has a ticket to Norway in the name of Jessica Johnson, he suggests that she use the ticket to visit Norway and discover the backstory of this troll. So throwing caution to the wind, and with a bribe from her boss for the extension, JJ heads off with Henrik to Norway, where she finds love, the backstory of the troll, and the connection to the country that she didn't expect. And My Norwegian Holiday is another been there, done that movie script. Seems that the good folks at Hallmark and Great American Family may have been mailing it in. What made this movie, though, different from other rote movies that we have reviewed is the way that the story unfolded. I mean, the locals in town seem to know who Henrik is, and some of them show him no respect. And we ultimately discover that Henrik used to be on his country's national ski team, where he nearly won a medal, only to blow out his knee, ending his career. Now, JJ, who thought she no longer had family, discovers that she has a very familiar connection to the town, which I will not spoil for you. I really enjoyed the town of Bergen and all the traditions of Henrik's family. I mean, the story of St. Lucia was fun. The meanings of love, none of which I can pronounce, was fantastic. Not only because it was about love, mind you. No. It was because they talked about the queen of 2023, one Taylor Allison Swift. JJ's mind was blown to discover that a man doesn't propose until just before the wedding. And what's the deal with all these wool socks? Now, while I might not seek this movie out again, I certainly would not mind watching it again if I was flipping channels. Number 2, Time for Her to Come Home for Christmas, which aired Thursday, November 30th on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Now, Carly is a music teacher who's been hired by the local church in Waterford Creek to work with the choir on their Christmas program. Now, while on the bus to Waterford Creek, recently retired Army veteran Matthew finds Carly's guitar pick on the floor of the bus. Carly attends Sunday service where she gets to hear the choir, and Carly discovers that she will need a Christmas miracle if she is going to transform this group in 2 weeks. Now, Pastor John Shepard and his wife Susan have brought Carly here for more than just teaching the choir. For what purpose did they bring Carly to their small town? Can Carly transform this ragtag group into a vocal choir in time? Does Carly get her pick back? You will have to watch Time for Her to Come Home for Christmas to find out. Now, this is the 6th Time For movie installment. We've had Time for Me, Time for You, Time for Us, Time for Them, Time for Him, and now Time for Her. Hopefully we are running out of pronouns because I think it is time for this series to end. Now, this was my second favorite of the Time For movies behind the first Time for Me. Much like the first movie in the series, Time for Her had a plausible storyline that saw 2 unlikely people brought together to find love. Now, I enjoyed the scene with Carly and Matt in the record store picking out eclectic Christmas albums to exchange with each other. Of course, that was a clever way to tie in the now infamous Time for Me to Come Home Christmas song that was intertwined in most of the movies. By the way, in Time for Me, Heath Sawyer wrote that song at the end of the movie. So how then does this song end up on old jazz albums or on Christmas snow globes? Am I the only one that has realized this continuity issue? Now, this movie made me want to discover exactly what a peppermint egg cream is and why does it not contain eggs. This will be on my list of things to try before the Christmas season ends. There actually is a guy named Accordion Steve on the internet, but there is no Accordion to Steve's Christmas Polka album. Also, there is a band called the Blue Note Trio, but I did not find their Christmas album. Now, if the Blue Note Trio sounds familiar to Time For fans, that is because that album was requested to be played by Lacey Chabert's character Sarah in the Time For Us movie. Now, in the end, Matthew and Carly declare their love for each other, and my Kiss-O-Meter score for this movie was a solid 8. Number 1, A Not So Royal Christmas, which aired Saturday, December 2nd on the Hallmark Channel. The movie opens up with a group of 3 people taking a tour of Sorhagen Palace, home of the Count of Sorhagen. Now, Count Lars has not been seen in public in quite some time, and this has started to affect tourism in the town and at the castle. Charlotte has been working in London for Royal Gossip Entertainment for the last 5 years. Now, her visa is about to expire, so she needs her job and a raise if she wants to stay in London. Now, Charlotte makes a bet with her editor that if she can get an exclusive interview with Count Lars, he will give her the raise that she wants. So off to Storhagen she goes, in economy class, of course. Now, Adam Pedersen has spent the last 10 years traveling the world working odd jobs. He has returned to his hometown of Storhagen, where he works as a royal landscaper. While decorating the trees on the palace grounds, he finds the personal medallion of Count Lars in the snow. Now, how nobody else seemed to have found this, it is not to be questioned. Now, Charlotte takes a tour of the palace and escapes from the tour to go to the private office of Count Lars. There she finds Adam, who's trying to return the medallion. She sees the medallion and thinks that he is Count Lars. Now, the real Count Lars abdicated the throne for love with an American woman 4 years ago. But the royal counselor decides to let Adam pose as the count for the interview. Now, of course, if one good lie shouldn't exist alone, so Charlotte tells the count that she works for the Monarch Insider. Now, will Charlotte discover the truth about Count Lars or Adam? Will local yokel Adam be able to pull off playing the sophisticated Count Lars? Watch a not-so-royal Christmas to see how this story plays out. Now, what an enjoyably fun movie this was. I mean, this is so much subtle humor in this movie that you almost need to watch it twice to catch it all. Will Kemp is quickly becoming one of my favorite leading men, not as much for his looks, but as for his comic chops. He can totally pull off any character he is asked to play and do it with great charm and excellent comedic timing. Well, and Brooke d'Orsay, forever Miss Christmas to me, showcases her comic talents with her stunning looks perfectly alongside Will Kemp. Now, I love that the real Count Lars abdicated to run off with an American woman he met in Daytona Beach on spring break. Truly funny in the new world of Hallmark humor. Now, Adam trying to evade Charlotte at the local pub was also very funny. Of course, he knocks over a tray of drinks, totally outing him, but when he delivers the "I'm undercover" line, I'm rolling on the floor laughing. And that leads me to give props to Michael, I think it's Huff, as security guard and best friend to Adam Jensen, who steals the show in several of his scenes. Okay, so there are some crazy holes in this movie. How does nobody bother to do a Google search on Charlotte to verify that she is a journalist or that she works for Monarch Insider? Does anyone think a real king or queen would lie about a royal family member? Better yet, how is it that Monarch Insider nor Royal Gossip Entertainment, publications dedicated to all things royal, did not manage to break the story of a real count abdicating his throne? I mean, there would be paparazzi photos of him and his American girlfriend for sure. But despite those things, this movie was fun to watch, so be sure to put it on your list. Will it make my top 10? The dance car's getting full, and a few movies are going to just miss the cut. So be sure to watch my year-end top 10 and bottom 10 list to see what makes the cut and what should never be shown again. Well, that's my rankings for the week of November 30th through December 3rd. Leave me a comment to let me know if you agree or disagree. Subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to see my content and be notified when new content drops. I'm John. Thanks for watching The Real Man Rom-Com Review.